Hello and welcome to another short interview from the anti-discrimination group from Mellemfolkeligt Samvirke in Aarhus. The aim of this group is to fight discrimination locally, discrimination based on ethnicity, religious beliefs, nationality, and race. And we are here today with Catarina and Laetitia from the organization Aarhus for Solidarity, and they will tell us about their project, their mission, and their actions. So first of all, I would like to thank you very much for being here today with us.
Hi. Thanks for having us, Pauline.
Thanks.
And I would like to start by asking you just to tell us a little bit about what is Aarhus for Solidarity, what is your mission, and what do you do?
So our group started as a project. It was called Solidarity Project in 2015, and until 2017, people from the group were mainly visiting asylum centers in Denmark, and then they developed expertise on that. And then in 2020, and since 2017, we've been present in Gathion, the deportation center, that we usually say KHD. So since 2020, we created this organization, and we found out that we needed to separate because composition and people changed from the group. So we created Aarhus for Solidarity. So we're basically people from all around the world, and we have the common aim to support marginalized groups in Denmark, and specifically here, this deportation center for rejected asylum seekers. We would like to say that we believe in one humanity and that we support each other, treating everyone equally and impartially. A little bit about our goals. We want to foster solidarity and spread awareness. We foster solidarity by being present and going to the camp and doing the visits and engaging in social and bonding connection, human, genuine connections. And regarding to the spreading awareness, we want to share knowledge that we have and information and articles that we find. So that's it.
Amazing. You've seen how asylum seekers live in those asylum centers. Could you describe a bit of the living conditions there?
I can develop on that. So one thing that is really important to establish is that we mostly operate now in Gathion departure center, also called deportation center, which means that it has nothing to do with an asylum center, which is usually coordinated and managed by the Red Cross. And this means that the purpose of this camp is to, so maybe I need to give a little bit of context on the kind of people that live in Gathion deportation center. There are two main categories, legal categories that people fall under. The first one is rejected asylum seekers. So it means that it's people who have applied for asylum in Denmark, but whose case have been rejected. And the second legal category is people that are so-called on tolerated stay. And they have lost their residence permit in Denmark for a number of reasons. And both these categories of people, of residents, cannot be deported from Denmark. So they're in a limbo state. They have to stay in the center, even though there's a lot of incentive from the government to push these people outside of Denmark. But it cannot be done by putting these people on a plane back to their country for a number of reasons. So this means that maybe you want to explain a little bit about where the camp is located, and because that would explain a little bit what the conditions are, and then I can develop on that.
Yeah, KHD, it's like how we call, because it's a bit difficult to pronounce Gathion. It's located in Midtjylland, and it's 7 kilometers away of the closest city, that Ikast, and also the closest train station. It's around 70 kilometers from Aarhus, and people are kind of physically isolated from the society because it's obviously far away from train stations and like the city nearby.
It's in the middle of a field, basically. Yeah. And so regarding all of this, because I think we needed a bit more context regarding the conditions in this deportation center. So, like I said, the goal is not to integrate or involve residents in the society because they're supposed to leave Denmark, which means that they don't have a lot of activities that are being made for them. The Red Cross, which is present inside the camp, proposes English classes and math, applied science classes. But apart from that, there's really a lot of isolation. The camp is now overcrowded, so there's more than 300 people living inside the center right now, and they used to live in single rooms, most of them. Now they have to share their room. They're not allowed to cook inside their rooms. Access to enter the center is very limited, so you can't enter the center unless you've been invited for it. So it's a very restrictive and also very heavy environment. I have a lot more to say, but
please share.
Yeah?
Yes,
okay.
I'm really curious to, have a better image of how is it to live there, to be a resident there. I mean, to be forced to be a resident there. So, please expand on it.
Okay. So that I don't forget anything. So of course the fact that let's also not forget the COVID-19 situation, when the little activities that used to be present at the camp have now either been shut down or put online through WhatsApp, which means that people are even more confined inside their rooms and they don't have any social life, basically. And this leads to a series of conflicts, a lot of anxiety issues. We know that some residents have been using alcohol as a coping mechanism. Some of them have families in Denmark that they can visit, even though they have to sleep inside the camp every night. So it's a mix of isolation, a lot of pressure to leave Denmark, but very few resources to kind of go through this limbo. And one thing that is very challenging is the lack of mental health support that is being provided. So, yeah.
Do you know if there's any other organization that provides mental health support there, or is it provided by the government, or in this case not provided?
Do you want to answer, or?
Oh, you can answer.
Okay. So the one thing I don't think we've mentioned is that the camp used to be managed by the Prison and Probation Services, even though it's technically not a prison. And so that says a lot about the incentives that are being pushed on the residents of the camp.
And it used to be a prison. Yeah.
It used to be a prison.
Yeah.
Yes. So there are fences around and all of that. I lost my thought. What was?
I was wondering what kind of mental health support they get. If there's any other organization like you who helps them.
So the camp was managed by the Prison and Probation. Now it's managed by the government, but the health and education is delegated to the Red Cross. So the Red Cross is now the only organization that is present there every day. They also have volunteers, but of course they're not the ones deciding on the amount of support that people get on mental health, for example. So only a very limited of people have access to psychological support, and it does not the kinds of traumas that you've been through also inside the camp or within your journey in Denmark is not considered as a reason that is valid enough to ask for help. So then there's also another organization that is called Contact Person Network, which also aims at building friendships and bonds with residents inside the camp. Yes, and local organizations. I mean, smaller groups, but they also are quite active.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so how often do you go to these camps, and what kind of activities do you propose to those people?
So before Corona, we used to go there at a monthly basis. The activities that we used to do are mainly just enjoy and have a good time with the residents and the people that live there. And we prepare activities, we prepare snacks, and we just chat and play board games. And we also try to do activities outside and do sports tournaments. And sometimes we have visits to Aarhus, not right now, but right now we had to adapt. And since January, we started with the online meetings where we can play some online games and maintaining the human bond.
Nice.
We also have the part that we want to share and knowledge and create awareness in this issue. So we have our Facebook page, and we try to be active in our social media and basically share articles, or we provide our own infographics about the asylum system in Denmark, and also general information about the camp.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you feel that many people know about those asylum centers and the conditions of living there?
I think we feel like when we engage in conversations with people, Danish, international, everyone, people don't really realize what is happening. That's why, like, one of our goals is to share this information and be a platform to discuss and argue about this issue. We want to try to do that, but I think it's general that we feel that sometimes people that are not really aware of the conditions and that these camps exist, centers, because this is like a different interpretation center. Yeah,
definitely.
I think that's one of the reasons that kind of impulsed also our will of becoming a more an official organization, let's say, because like Catarina said, we noticed that Danes or internationals don't know. I mean, they might know about asylum centers, which are where asylum seekers, so people who are still in the process of having their case opened in order to get the refugee status in Denmark. These are completely different cases, and the conditions are very different. But deportation centers like Gathion are not really talked about. And when they are discussed in the media, for example, there is a tendency to criminalize the residents. So focusing on building a discourse around them that portrays them as dangerous criminals who should not be integrated in society and who should be left apart. So there's a lack of information and also fake information that are being broadcasted.
Yeah. How do you feel that people react when you share this information with them? Like, do they respond positively or negatively to knowing that they are people living in those deportation centers in those conditions?
I feel like it's both. It's in two parts. There's people who are shocked and like maybe want to be part of the group and try to like do something about it. And then there's people that I don't think they ever thought that existed and don't have an instant reaction, I feel. I don't know.
I agree with you, and I also think that it might be related to the fact that we tend to see Denmark as this perfect little heaven on earth where, you know, equality, equity, everything works well, solidarity and all of that. I think there's also some kind of refusal from some people, and I think it's a natural reaction to refuse to want to see these things, but they do exist. So that's why we want to talk about it.
Definitely. That's why we're here today. And our group, our anti-discrimination group, is aiming for something similar as what you're doing, which is changing the narratives around, newcomers, refugees, asylum seekers, any person who might be perceived as different from the majority group here in Denmark, and who is likely to be discriminated. So what do you think can be done locally here in Aarhus to change those narratives?
I think the first step is like something that we also are working and that we want to do is just share the knowledge and just open a discussion about it and be informative as well. Like that's the main part. And I feel like, I don't know if you want to help a little bit.
I think that we need more of these platforms like the one that you're providing us today, and I'm really happy that we're here to really insist on sharing knowledge and sharing information, because like we said, some people don't even know that discrimination exists in Denmark, so we need to be vocal about it. And I also think that a way of doing that is mutualizing our work and really building stronger networks and collaborate more together. Because there is a need on many different levels, not only regarding asylum seekers and refugees in Denmark, but in many other aspects.
Exactly. So we're on the right track, hopefully here.
Hopefully, I'm sure.
So how can we help? For the people who are listening to us today, how can they get involved, or what can we do?
Well, we have our Facebook page, and we'll be very happy if more people would like to join us and join our organization. We have the monthly visits, but we also want to be more active in the social media. So there's a lot that we can do also in our organization. So more resources would be very, very needed. The new activities, actually, like we're going to be able to go to the camp next month. So after 1 year, we're going there finally, and we're going to be back and being present. But I really feel like if you don't want to commit an organization, and that's totally okay, I think just to talk about it and have a conversation with your friends, with your family and your circles, I think that's very important. Yeah.
We will do that. Okay, so if you've heard Catarina and Laetitia today, go to their Facebook page. And do you have any other final words? Anything you would like to share with us today? We've said everything.
I mean, we've said a lot.
We've said a lot. You've said a lot.
But I think that one thing that maybe we haven't insisted much upon is that this working on anti-discrimination really needs, I mean, that's what we believe in, of course, deep structural changes. And so that's why we don't advocate only for residents to be able to live in single rooms. That's not, that's maybe an emergency necessity right now, but on the long term, of course, we advocate for the camps to be closed, for freedom of movement, for everybody to have the same rights and access to a dignity life and a good life. So I think that was important to insist upon and to open the conversation on that.
Thank you very much to both of you.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. And see you next time.
Bye.